Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. The goal of these briefings and my weekly radio show, Operation Freedom, is to provide you information the bought-off lamestream fake media will never present and never touch. You can join us every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern for the radio show. You can stream it live. It's free. Go to davejanda.com, go to the upper right-hand corner, hit the listen button. Join us. Great guests, great analysis. In addition, we're at our Operation Freedom platform more than just 2 to 5. We're on call 24/7. We're available, obviously, in our YouTube channel here, Operation Freedom. This is the only channel where I provide original content. Any of these other fraudulent channels that are stealing my content and then getting monetized for it, they are all frauds. This is the only channel I provide original content, Operation Freedom channel. In addition, I have the website davejanda.com. We upload a significant amount of free information in addition to being able to stream the radio show. But we also have a subscription service. If you're interested in the podcast, our Insider Insight show, where we bring guests from behind the curtain forward and do interviews that these guests will never be seen in the bought-off lamestream fake media, which is why? Because that same media is owned by the globalist syndicate. We also have our WTF show, where I bring geopolitical information from my contacts forward on what's really happening around the world. And we also have our Department of Advanced Research show with Nick Ruiz. We have the archives for our radio show for 8 years available for our subscribers, as well as the Insider Insight show. You're always welcome on the free side or on the public side. Now, today I want to focus on President Trump and his cutting off the deep state supply lines. What do I mean by that? The deep state MO, modus operandi, has been all about plunder. You name the country that they're involved in, and they're plundering the living daylights out of it. Whether it's Iraq or Libya or Ukraine or Syria. Look at the middle-level puppets that have occupied the office of President of the United States that are associated with the Rothschild, Rockefeller globalist syndicate. Whether it's Bush 1, Bush 2, Clinton, or Obama. In their tenures as president, Iraq was looted, Libya was looted, Ukraine was looted, and Syria was looted. They were looted for their natural resources, be it oil, be it gold and silver, be it the looting of their population, the decimation of their population, the decimation of their societies, so that these entities, the globalist syndicate, the puppet masters that control these individuals that were, whether it's a Bush or a Clinton or Obama, the puppet masters wanted the natural resource. In Afghanistan, it's all about the poppy fields, right? I mean, old man Bush, Poppy Bush. Everybody's thinking, oh, it's because he was a grandpa. Oh, they referred to him as Poppy. No. When you hear Poppy Bush, think Afghanistan and think of those poppy fields. There was something that recently occurred that upset the deep state's apple cart and actually upset the deep state supply lines. You see, I believe President Trump is going after the Rothschild, Rockefeller globalist silo syndicate that has been in power for well over 100 years. And the way he's going up after them, one of the ways, is financially, trying to starve them out, cut their supply lines. Headline from Zero Hedge. Yeah, I know, MSNBC, CNN isn't going to talk about it. U.S. Army takes 50 tons of gold from Syria in alleged deal with ISIS. Now remember, if you haven't seen the interview that I just uploaded yesterday with Charles Woods and a whistleblower by the name of Travis, who was in the theater of operation during Benghazi, you need to watch it. It blows the whole lid off of Benghazi. We had this as part of our subscription platform. This is the type of work we do. My subscribers, our subscribers on the platform, suggested that we get it out ASAP, which is what I did. Now, you're welcome to join our subscription family so you have access to that type of information immediately, but we did this as a public service to get this out because it's that important on a national security basis. Long story short about Benghazi, it was about tying up loose ends because Obama and Hillary Clinton, the then Secretary of State, were involved in weapons-running operations into al-Qaeda in Libya to take out Gaddafi. So what? Donors of the Clinton Foundation, donors to the Obama administration could get involved in their economy and strip them of their natural resources. Gaddafi's gold was gone. Gaddafi's silver was gone. The oil industry was decimated. Who benefited? Right, the globalist syndicate. Part of their plunder activities. And part of the bounty they received was just confiscated by the army. Remember, ISIS was weaponized through Libya. So when they got Gaddafi killed and his country overrun, Stevens, the ambassador, who was essentially the first ambassador to Al-Qaeda, this is through the Obama administration, reversed those flow of arms, funneled them into Turkey, into Syria, to weaponize ISIS. Which, by the way, General Flynn, the reason why they took him out is because he had testified behind closed doors to Congress that ISIS was being weaponized through the Obama administration and being funded and trained through our intelligence agencies, a rogue element of the CIA. And you wonder why Stevens, the ambassador, they called the stand-down order and he's dead, and you wonder why General Flynn was removed? They can't have people like that in power. So the army recently took control of 50 tons of gold that had been usurped by the deep state, the globalist syndicate, prior to Trump coming in office. Quote, as the remaining pockets of ISIS fighters faced imminent defeat in northeast Syria, the United States allegedly gave them an offer they couldn't refuse. Give us your massive caches of gold or die. My guess is the deal is they gave over the gold and then they died. The precious metal, worth about $2.13 billion, was plundered by the self-designated caliphate as a reign of terror spread across Syria and Iraq between 2015 and the beginning of 2017. So that was one way. President Trump was cutting the supply lines, cutting the funding, starving them out. But there's another way, and it focused on the drug trade. Don't you think it's a coincidence that right when old man Bush died, all of a sudden, President Trump announced that he had been working for months prior to that in reestablishing relationships in Afghanistan and us leaving. In other words, our military no longer having to protect the poppy fields. Well, no, Dave, when we got involved in 2001, the poppy fields got decimated. And we were overseeing the fact that the poppy fields were decimated. Well, I did a little research on this. By the way, since 2001, 2,300 Americans lost their lives. $1 trillion of our taxpayer money was pushed into Afghanistan. And 100,000 American troops had been deployed. Now let's look at the opium poppy cultivation in Afghanistan. This supplies 90% of global heroin. In 2000, a hectare it's a measure of a plot of land. In 2000, 82,000 hectares were utilized in Afghanistan for opium poppy cultivation before the war. The Taliban was actually cutting down that number, and when the war commenced in 2001, it had drastically reduced to about 800 hectares. Oh. However, by the end of George Bush II's first term in 2004, there were now 131,000 hectares that were solely used for opium poppy cultivation. Wasn't W being nice to Daddy? Went from 82,000 hectares in 2000 to 131,000. Oh. Didn't go down. Almost doubled. By 2008, when George W. left office, it was up to 157,000 hectares of opium poppy cultivation. Boy, added bonus for Daddy. By the end of Obama's first term in 2012, it had stabilized around 154,000, but by the end of 2016, another little donation to Daddy Bush and the syndicate, the globalist syndicate, it was up to 201,000 acres. And actually, by the time he left office at the beginning of 2017, it was up to what? 320,000 hectares. Oh. So in other words, from when we got there to when we left, it was up at least 400%. the amount of land that was utilized for opium production. In 2017, when President Trump came to office in January, later that year was the first time F-22 fighters and B-52 bombers were utilized to destroy labs and fields. And in fact, by 2017, at the beginning of the Trump administration, when Obama left office, 9,000 tons of opium were produced, which is a new high, beating the old high in 2007 when George W. Bush was president of 8,200 tons. By 2018, it had fallen from 9,000 tons to 6,400 tons still. 6,400 tons too many. What the president is doing by getting out of Afghanistan that no one in the bought-off lamestream fake media will fess up to is he's pulling us out of the drug trade. And he's trying to starve out, if you will, the globalist syndicate and one of their supply lines of the drug industry. It's also what the border issues are about. You see, as profitable as the drug trade is, as my friend Bob Mazur, from former undercover agent of the DEA who helped bring down Pablo Escobar, has spoken about on our radio show, the drug trade is very lucrative, but so is the human trafficking trade. So in addition to plundering natural resources, one of the natural resources the globalist syndicate plunders are humans and the human trafficking of women and of children. You see, the president's wall, the president's border position, the president putting out a national emergency is another means of cutting off the supply lines to the deep state, to the globalist syndicate. This is why he has been so intent in enhancing the security at our border, because it's another means of starving the deep state. Drugs, natural resources, and human trafficking. He's going after the big three that have funded, that have weaponized the deep state. The deep state that is intent on stripping all of us of the remaining freedoms and liberties we have, not just in the United States, but around the world. It is the war that the president is fighting on a number of fronts. The bought-off lamestream fake media does not want you to know about the plundering that has occurred over a decade's time. Plundering of natural resources. Plundering of humans. The bought-off lamestream fake media does not want you to know about how the deep state, who owns the global media, has utilized the drug industry and the drug cartels to further their efforts. The bottom line, the president is intent on winning the war by cutting off their supply lines further. This is why I believe we have to be staunch supporters of his efforts when it comes to the border and when it comes from the withdrawal of such places as Syria and Afghanistan. I hope you'll join us on our platform radio show, Operation Freedom, airs every Sunday, 2 to 5 Eastern. Hit the Listen Live button in the upper right-hand corner. It's free. Join us on this YouTube channel and join us at davejanda.com on the free side. And also, I hope you'll become a subscriber, a member of our Freedom family. Without our subscribers, that interview that we just posted with Charles Woods and Travis, the whistleblower, who outlines how the deep state called the stand-down order, which led to the deaths of 4 Americans and put another 30 in harm's way. I hope you'll join us and become a subscriber. And until next time, this is Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thank you for your time today.